single metric, no more than, or you can have more, but one of them should be the main one, to rule them all. It needs to be simple and easy to understand and easy to calculate with, and it has to be correlated all the time with your real goal. So we correlate RFE with our real goal all the time. We did it lately 5 months ago. It was still correlated, but we started seeing a change. So the number, the threshold for engaged users may change very soon, and we'll have to make sure that we are actually following that. If you do that, it will help you to have one single version of the truth that will consolidate effort and conversation within the company and focus on the most important thing, which is forming habits. Thank you. Have you seen?
Subscribers from India.
I can't answer this question without looking at the data. There is a difference between our market in Asia and our market in the UK, and I would say Europe and US. So for UK, this is the FT for many people is their main source of news. This is their newspaper for everything. In other areas in the world, it is more the second one, or at least they're using something else for national news or local news. I did, personally, I went to Hong Kong and Singapore a year ago to do some customer research, and I was amazed by the level of engagement over there. But it's a very, very specific segment in the population. I'm not sure we have information about Indian subscribers. Or I'm sure we have, but I don't have it with me.
Hi, Gadi. My name is Rohin. I'm a subscriber to FT. One of the things that stands out very differently about the FT vis-a-vis New York Times, and I'm a subscriber to the New York Times and to the Wall Street Journal, is that both the New York Times and Wall Street Journal have a distinct visual imagery as part of their product and as part of their stories. And the FT is decidedly very textual, and of course it's pink and all that, but that's different. It's very stark. As a product manager, I wondered if you've ever seen any correlation between, the absence or presence of visual imagery with stories and engagement, because, the difference is really very stark between FT and everyone else.
So just to understand the question, you're saying Wall Street Journal and New York Times are more visual.
They have a lot of relevant images, and FT is largely textual.
It's a beautiful question. Thank you for that. So we're pink. And we're pink because this is our identity. We tested becoming white. It was horrific. So it was very clear that we shouldn't be white. There's two issues that I'd like to, or two insights about pictures. The first one is that we're talking about business news. And in many cases, the picture itself is not very helpful. We actually did a test. And the automatic article page has a headline, subheadline, a picture, and then the test. We took off all the pictures. The newsroom was furious. Engagement went up, okay? Because in many cases, this generic picture was actually interfering in getting more information more quickly, okay? Now, we didn't eventually implement that all across, but the newsroom understood that they shouldn't put a picture if it's not really important. On the other hand, when we have a graph, when you have a chart, this is a far, far, far more important piece of information. And actually, we did see through customer research and through dwell time that when you have charts in a specific article, the engagement is actually higher. The FT has actually a chart, or within the newsroom, there is one person, Alan Smith. He's in charge of all infographics. He has made a revolution, and he's a journalist, and he has a map. And you can actually, if you decide to do any kind of chart, there's a map in the newsroom, and you can say, if I'm using it for this correlation, for this kind of people, this is the kind of chart that I need to use. We help them with just facilitating an internal tool that automates charts if they are not unique. So if they're not bespoke, most of them can be done by journalists without the designers. And as you can see that if you read the FT, that there are more and more charts. We launched a chart hub 3 or 4 months ago to see how people react to actually news that are coming through charts only. So to make it a long answer short, visuals are important only if they add value. And in our case, graphs are much more important than pictures. It doesn't mean that if Donald Trump right now says something and is on TV and we'll have a video, we wouldn't put it. We're just saying that if the pound is going down against the euro, I'm not sure a picture is going to help over there.
I have a question at the back. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Quickly, front of paywall content. So you have podcasts, you have video on your Facebook page. I see that you've killed off your Instagram account, so that this product is no longer available. So what I'm curious about is how does the front of paywall content fit in with the RFV?
Well, excellent questions, I must say. So we are very familiar with how we do it in text. And video and audio are still areas to explore. So in text, we basically optimized it. We started with 23 articles, and then we went down to 8, and then we ended up with nothing. Now we're personalizing the experience with text. So it means that you get nothing if you come back again and again and again. If you come from Google, you will get quite a lot in the first month, but if you come back again and again, eventually we'll block you. Now, yeah, you can bypass it by deleting your cookies. There's nothing we can do about that. But basically, we would say if you started forming a habit, actually putting some friction in front of you will help us in eventually converting you. Now, we don't like friction, but if you have a subscription business, then you can't just put everything for free. On audio and video, I'll speak more about audio because, again, it's something that I worked on. I'm working on it right now. Audio will follow the same route. At the moment, it's free. If you look at any external platforms like iTunes, we can't charge a subscription over there, and we are questioning whether, or to what extent we should continue to use that over there. On site, we will start using audio and create basically podcasts and content for subscribers only. It doesn't have to be podcasts, it can be automated articles that we already have. And eventually it will follow the same. And this very important question about how does audio fit into the RFE is something that we're looking at right now. So if you listen to a podcast for half an hour, how much of articles read, or as we call it, counted content, is it worth? I don't have the answer yet, but this is a very good question because maybe in 1 year's time I'll come here again and I'll be able to answer this.
Thank you, Gadi. This was a very insightful session. I think the importance of single